How old were you, Dad?
We lived in Boone, 3 years old.
Live in Booneville, Mississippi? Okay.
We lived at Boone. We went over to my Uncle Jeff's, which was my great uncle, and my great aunt.
That was the sheriff.
And he had an apiary out there on the north side.
A what?
An apiary.
What's that?
Well, there's a bunch of beehives, 75. There's 75 out there at Colonel's.
That's a lot of honey in it.
And they never had cut my hair. Way down here on my shoulders.
What color?
And blonde.
Blonde hair?
Bees got in it.
Oh, Daddy.
They got in my hair and they stung me all over my head.
You could have died from that.
They carried me to the doctor.
Uh-huh.
The doctor said, well, if he gets over it, said if he lives through that, said a sting will never hurt him, never bother him. And I got through it, but they had to cut all my hair off to get the bees out. They cut every bit of it off. Mama said they cried like a baby. Daddy and Mama both cried, so they had to cut my hair off. And you know what a bee stings me? Even a bumblebee stings me. It doesn't swell up. Just forms a little white ring around it. Just a little big white ring. Just hurt like crazy. And then quit. Next day it's over.
Yeah?
But don't swell me up.
Well, I'll tell you what. Did they say it was a touch-and-go thing with you when...
Oh, yes. It was.
Did you lose consciousness?
I don't recall. I don't remember.
Yeah. You never heard them tell you.
I don't remember that.
How'd you happen to go out around those bees? Or were they swarming?
Well, you know how a child is. Just get out and play. I wandered off the house.
Were they swarming?
Suggested the earring.
No, they just out there in the hives, and I just got up right up there in them.
And they got after you. Oh, my goodness.
Got all in my hair.
You're welcome.
I picked that out. I thought it might be a little more spring-like when I picked it out. Maybe something would be a little transitional.
I look like a stadium cushion, didn't it? Never could get it back. That thing went down there and it turned up. It turned up on its side. Well,
that's $1.
I heard music. I said record.
we got out and went on across the levee there. This fella lived over there. Got him to come over there with a tractor. He pulled me back up in the road. Took off, went on to work.
That was a good one now.
Go ahead. He was wanting Daddy to record things, you know, that happened in his lifetime, experiences. And, well, he hadn't felt like it. And she wanted me to ask him questions about different things. And so he could tell them these experiences. What he should have, if he'd thought about it, he could have had that on, you know, when he was out telling all these other tales. She wants them. Keep them.
Let me see if it's working. Let me stop.
Ready?
One minute. 1 minute. Yeah. Okay.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
I was 11 years old. Troy Kitchen in Holly. Lived down about a mile down, a little bit southeast of here. And so we're pretty close friends. And Andy Laurie and Laverne Mears lived right up here. Right where Frank Wright lives now. Well, Laverne and Andy Laurie decided they'd dress up and go down to Hollis Toys. Okay. So what did they do? They take out their sister's best sundress. And they put it on. And I don't know whether they had the shoes on or not. I don't remember. But anyway, Troy had an old they had a buggy at one time, and all that rotted off except the wheels and the axle. Still had that. So I put him a piece of 2x lumber across it and made a little old wagon out of it where you could ride on. Okay, here they come down there. And, of course, I was struck on her even then. She didn't know it, but I was. But, 11 years old. Okay. So they see that and they want to ride it. Okay, so Hollis, he decided he'd get up there and steer it for him. And right back at the barn, went down the hill, there was a lake back there. It narrowed down, wasn't over 40, 50 feet wide right there where it went. Well, I said, I tell you what, it won't go fast enough by itself. I'll just push it. And I got in behind that thing and I was pushing. I started mule. I pushed that thing down the hill. Got down there almost to the lake. Hollis kept trying to turn that thing, to miss that lake, and I kept sliding it back in over. I'd slide it over, right down, but that lake came wet. Water about that. You talking about somebody that was a bad egg. I was a bad egg.
And they ruined their dresses, didn't they? They ruined those dresses?
Oh,
Yeah.
Got them wet up.
It got wet.
Got it wet up to the waist.
Yeah,
and long dresses, on us. And my sister's was a ball dress. And I don't know if I had on a slip under it or not,
Probably not.
Probably didn't. They probably didn't have one. But anyhow, that dress was just pasted to me, and Laverne's as wet as it could be all around the tail. And we had to go home with those, well, we knew we was going to just get skint. I could have gone anywhere beside home if I had a place to go. And we was mad at Lawrence, I'm telling you. It's a wonder that he could stand it, how we talked to him, and blessed him out. How mean he was, and sorry, and low down. I never thought I'd marry nobody like that.
And how long have you been married now, Granny?
55 years.
That's great.
55 years. I reckon something. You know what, though? I got to liking him better and got to thinking more of him and everything. And he's coming around. He looks pretty good. And I won't just tell y'all. I just looked at his mouth one day. And I don't know. I ought to tell this, but I'll just tell it anyhow. I looked at his mouth and I thought to myself, I bet he could kiss pretty good. But looking at it now, I don't know where it's good or not.
Well, tell about the time he came down here and took you out for a hamburger up to Armstrong.
Oh,
let
him tell
Yeah,
that.
let him tell that.
When we were in our 20th, I think right after that picture's made there, I was wrong about that time. I'd come up, they lived across the road in that house. And it was painted blue at the time. So I'd come up there and I had some kind of car, I don't know what it was. Seemed like that 56 Chevrolet, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know. You never did have much of a good-looking car. It's always a big... What was that old big car at that time?
Buick.
That's the biggest thing. Looked like a funeral coach.
Gave $25 for it.
$25?
I paid $25 for that straight A Buick.
Okay.
But I might have had that 31 model Chevrolet at the time
I
with it.
think you did.
And I paid Troy Kitchen $35 for it. He was about to lose it, and he won't let it go back, and he didn't want to do that. And he asked me would I give him $35 for it, and I said, yeah, and I bought it. So we'd go up to Armstrong at night, or in the afternoon.
Tell me where Armstrong's was. Y'all probably don't remember.
Armstrong was that pig stand I told you about a while ago.
Well, it's
Just down there
It's
at Martin
remodeled
Hill.
at the house.
The house now, but it used to get hamburgers.
Okay. So you could get a hamburger for a dime and a Coke for a nickel. He said, we're sitting on the porch. I don't know where we're sitting in a swing or what we're sitting in.
I guess we were.
Probably.
Yeah, I was sitting in a swing. She said, let's go get a hamburger. I said, okay. We'll go get you one. I don't have one. I don't care for one. And all I had was 15 cents. That's all I had, dime and a nickel. Went up there, and here come Archie stepping out there, you know. So what did they do for you? I said, well, we want a hamburger and a Coke. Is that all? He looked at me and I said, yeah, that's all. He fixed it up and brought it over. I had a tray to hook over the door, you know. Set it there, and he ate that hamburger and drank that Coke. Oh, guys, what did you want? I said, I don't want one. But she didn't know for years after that. I told her that was the last 15 cents I had. I didn't have enough to buy anymore.
She got your last 15 cents.
Yeah. Well, we had some, I had some
Probably not.
funny experiences, though. Really unique. Not a lot of people had them. When I was 5 years old, and somewhere in this house in our collection of pictures, we have a picture. And my daddy was roofing a story-and-a-half house in Mark Tree, Arkansas. We lived in Mark Tree then. My roof and boom out to Mark Tree. The roof was pretty steep, and he's putting on wood channels. Well, you slide off that roof, you don't watch out. And he pulled my overall legs out like that's all I had to wear, overalls. He pulled the overalls out, and he drive a nail down through the end of that roof for me so I would slide off and I'd hand him change. And if I didn't hand him the right one, he'd box my jaws with that chain. 5 years old. 10 years old. You know, you remember where Gene Mason used to live? All right, you know where Martin Street is. Right on the corner of Martin and Lake. Right there in that southwest corner. Daddy built that house for John Mason, Gene's brother. And back then they had sheetrock, but it didn't have that thin stage on. It had no selvage edge on. What you had to do is nail it up, and you had to strip it with lattice. I'm 10 years old, and I nailed that sheetrock up. They helped me get it up and get it fastened to cup 3 or 4 places where it wouldn't come down. And I had a carpenter's helper that I'd pull up on it so it wouldn't come down. And I nailed that sheetrock up at 10 years old and stripped it with that lattice. When I was 15 years old,
From SEC Network analyst Marcus Spears, here in Missouri, they love their college sports, but that's not all they know. With 87 state parks and hundreds of lakes and rivers, there's so much to do in Missouri, no matter what teams are on the field. As an avid fisherman and a passionate outdoorsman, I know the hardest part of visiting this beautiful state is choosing where to cast my line. Learn more about everything that Missouri has to offer at visitboat.com.
for a change or two. But anyway, 15 years old, he put me out and I got down there and started from Mississippi. In my business, what we down there, we had houses to move on 82 highway. Okay? So I had the responsibility not only of moving houses, but I had to hire somebody with a wagon and a team, stretch the coupling pole out, separate them, so it could haul long timbers from one job to another. And I don't know how long I stayed down there. I moved 4 or 5 houses.
You had to move it by yourself, Daddy?
No, I had one one helper, sometimes two helpers. But I had total responsibility for that. 15 years. That's where I learned how to shake hands. I mean, I'd walk into a place. Daddy told me, he said, if you need anything, if you need a lumber, if you need nails, he said, you go down here to such and such a lumber yard down there. Tell him who you are. Tell him you're the son of J.F. Simmons, the house mover. That I need certain things, right? And he said, you'll get it. So I'd walk in and I'd stick out my hand and stuff. I said, my name is Lawrence Simmons. I'm the son of J.F. Simmons, house mover. And he told me to come in here and get whatever I needed in here that y'all would let me have in charge of him. Yes, sir. I got it.
15 years old.
15 years old.
Well, there's not much you don't know how to do.
During that same period of time, I'm trying to think of this fellow's name that Daddy hired to help. Is Bill something. And he wasn't much help, but he was there. And we were moving a house down here just right out of Jackson, about 30, 35 miles. We had to move it back off, for 49 highways going down through there. We had to move it back down there and put it on a certain spot, wherever the man only wanted to put it. And you had to go down a little slope. Okay. Had the winch up behind, letting it down. And that thing started, gave a lurch, and they jerked that old winch up. We had rods driven down the front and behind to catch it so it wouldn't. It jerked it up out of the ground. And here that thing went down that grade. Mm-hmm. Well, I looked over there and I told old Bill, I said, cross up your rollers up. Put one in one way and one in the other, and they're bind against each other. He crawled out from that house and ran. He ran like a rabbit. Well, I stayed with it. I kept feeding the rollers in, and I saw it going to turn over. I saw that thing, the seal line going to turn out, buckle out from under. The thing had 12-inch joist up there. And I just reached up in, I knew that when the seal line turned over, that was going to hold it up at least 8 or 10 inches off the ground. So I just reached up in those joists, at the cross bridging in there, and pulled myself up between the joists. And that thing hit the ground, so whop! Here I am hanging up there. Well, Daddy sees old Bill Days, that's Bill Days. Daddy sees Bill Days running back up there. Well, he came around there and wanted to holler for me. Lawrence, are you hurt? Where are you? And I didn't answer him, you know. I thought I'd have me a little fun.
Whoa!
I didn't answer him. But he got excited, you know. I dropped down out of those joists up there and crawled under the edge of the house. And I said, no, I just swung up between those joists right there. I said, I knew it was going to fall, but I said I knew I could stay up there and it wouldn't hurt me. Well, because I didn't answer him the first time, boy, he beat me up. He tore me up. I mean, he really gave me one.
Instead of being thankful and glad that he wasn't hurt, he beat the far out of it.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, it's good.
Well, I think you've told enough tonight. You're getting out of breath.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably tell you later on back up and tell you some other things that happened. And you'll have to sort it out if you want to put it in sequence.
Well, I like the experience, though. I know, but it's really done him good. I think it's got him, he was feeling pretty bad that y'all come in here. It's got his mind kind of, I like the one that he tells about walking so far to work.
Oh, that was in West Point, Mississippi. The day that I was 16 years old, I was in a boarding house at West Point. And we had a job back up north of West Point there on 45 Highway. We had 2 houses to move off the right of way. And I walked out of West Point 6.5 miles. When I was 16 years old, I walked 6.5 miles and worked 10 hours. Then walked back to West Point when 10 hours old. Moved one little old house by myself, didn't have any help. Moved it by myself.
You don't know how you did that, do you?
Yeah. Determination.
Determination? I don't think a 16-year-old today could move a house by himself.
I don't guess there's many of them. But I knew how to move a
I
house.
wouldn't even know how to begin.
I knew how to move a house because I'd been trained. Taught the house did. And so I didn't have any problem really with that. It wasn't a low house, it was one room and a side room, and had a front porch on it. It probably was about 16 feet across it, maybe 20 feet back that way long. And I moved that house by myself, put every timber on it, put the rollers on it, pulled the winch, pulled it up, and I could see the house. I could see the rollers getting back on the sill there. I'd stop and go back and pick up the loose ones and bring them back up there and set them in place.
Well, Daddy, what were you using to move the house? I mean,
A winch?
didn't you have a truck or something like that?
Huh?
Didn't have a truck or anything?
No, it's a winch.
Moving around logs.
Handmade winch, right? That thing was made, it was about, you put runners down about 8 feet long. And then you come back about halfway and measure off about 18 inches or 2 feet from halfway. And you'd put a post in there. You'd knock it out, put it in there, drill a hole in there with a brace and bit, old hand brace and bit, and put a bolt in it to hold it, so it wouldn't pull it out. And that's when you put that roller in there, what you did, you drilled a hole in the bottom of that roller. It had no T-model axles back then, and you drove that old T-model axle up in that hole that you drilled in the bottom. And then you'd saw with a hacksaw, you'd saw that end off of it. Well, down in the bottom of this capstan, it had a floor on it. And right in the middle of it, you'd bore a hole just the size of that iron rod is in it. And that's where it dropped down. Well, the top part of that roller, what we call the drum, you cut out down about 6 inches down. And you left the other part in there. Sawed that part out. And that's where you turn put your lever. And you put a bolt in it so it wouldn't come loose. And then sometimes you had to, depend on how heavy the house was, you'd have to change lengths in your lever. Well, since there wasn't nobody but me, I put the 16-foot lever over there, and I'd push you into it, just walk around there just fine. I'd pull it up a little ways and go set them rollers, pull it up again.
That's where leverage comes into
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
How far did you have to move it?
Well, I moved it probably as far from here to Raspberry down there, maybe like down the road.
Golly.
Back out in the field, like.
How much money did you make for that, Daddy?
Well, I suppose you get $1 a day in my board. That's what he told me. He said, I'll pay you $1 a day in your board. Well, He paid, I reckon he paid my board. They never did throw me out. But I never got many dollars. I'd say something to him every once in a while, and he said, well, we'll settle up one of these days. And he got to owing me $400 and something. Over a year's work. There's a guy down there in West Point had a 36 model V8 truck, Ford V8. He wanted $400 for it. I begged Daddy to buy that for me, and he wouldn't do it. I had to walk. I'd have a way to ride. And I swear, Daddy, we'll have a way to haul the tools, and I'll have a way to ride. I don't have to walk all this thing. But yeah, he didn't buy it, so I walked. And I moved that thing out there, set the jacks on it, took the rollers, field line, the track out from under it, held it up with the jacks, built the pillars, brick piers, by myself. Made my own mortar, had my own brick, built these pillars. When they got set up enough that I could let them down, I let them down on the pillars. And then it had an end chimney on it, and since we had no way of carrying it at that time, we had to tear the chimney down. So we tore the chimney down, and I had to build it back by myself. I built an end chimney. First thing I ever built in my life, right down there. 16 years old.
What if that house is still there, Daddy?
No, it's not there. But I moved another one back this side, back towards Gibson. And it had a big old stack chimney. Stack chimney is once inside. Had two fireplaces, one in front and one in the back. Well, I had moved that house and I had to build that stack chimney. And the only way you could do it without tearing the whole walls out was this: you had to stand down in that chimney, fix you something you could stand on, and build it up around. And then you had to extend that little chapel-like deal, keep building that thing up. Reckon you'd be, well, after a couple of days, you'd be out through the roof with it.
Inside it.
Yeah, inside.
It could have been killed.
Man.
Well, one day I was trying to build one out of brick. It's too wet. I got way up there and started cutting down on that stack on the chip. They fell in. Just fell in. I got out of there. It just fell all over my legs and feet. I just got out of there and took off back to the house, boarding house. Walking.
Try it again the next day, huh?
Brick too wet.
Yeah, brick too wet.
Mortar won't stick to them.
Well, it'll stick to them, but the brick sit there and the water run out of it and makes it soft, and it just slides around everywhere, so it just fell in.
Okay, I might want to ask you anything else. Right now. You gotta catch your breath.
Ready?
Yeah?
When we lived in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, we moved from Montreal up to Cape to Budget.
How
Missouri.
old were you, Daddy?
I'm only about 5 years old. We moved up to Budget, Missouri. That's in the Boot Hill, what they call the Boot Hill.
Did you have any other brothers and sisters at that time? Or were you the only one?
Well, Roscoe, Richard was born in Budget, Missouri. Roscoe was born, then Richard was born in Budget, 1924. Okay, I remember that. And so Daddy had heard that the Mississippi River froze solid. So we take off up there, going up to Sykeston, Missouri. Went up to Sykeston, right on up to Cape Girardeau. And there it was, out there in the river. I guess the river must have been half, 3/4 of a mile wide. And there was that barge out there frozen in. Had horses on. I saw them spread the hay out. We sat out there and watched. They spread hay out on that ice. And one man would walk a horse out by himself. Had a rein on him. He'd walk him out and he'd walk on that straw. They walked every one of those horses off of that barge. Got him on the bank.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
How deep do you think the ice was?
It was at least 18 inches big. Now, it got cold up there. It got cold in Missouri.
Well, it's been cold in Nebraska this year. All over, I think. Okay, I'm stopping it now.
Went hunting one day when we were living over on the east side of Budget. And back wasn't anything back out there but hay fields, corn fields,